kind of a new experience for me. Hello! Starting off the day with some spine cases, the anesthesia resident room. I feel like in these vlogs, I look like I'm doing a good job of handling everything. It's been kind of hard for me. Things are getting worse and worse, and it can really only get worse. Welcome back, vlog, to another week of anesthesiology residency. Chip says, welcome back. As much as I want to stay asleep, it's time to go put other people to sleep. Good morning. Right on the trash can. Fit check of the day. Let's go to the hospital. Bye, puppies. I'll miss you guys. All right, guys, welcome back to the vlog. This morning I'm at an outpatient surgery center. It's my first time here, and because it's my first time here, my attending said just to meet him out here around 6:45. So super nice. I actually got to sleep in a little bit, not have to wake up super early and set up the OR. We have a couple cases this morning, and then around noon I need to drive over to another campus because we have afternoon lectures. Not sure what those lectures are about, but I'll find out when I get there. Let's have a good day. Had to hit that scrub change real quick. One thing I've noticed so far in residency is that our faculty is incredibly good about making sure we get breaks. I've pretty much consistently gotten a breakfast break and a lunch break, and then usually a mid-afternoon break. Very much appreciated. All right, done for the morning. Now I need to drive like half an hour to another campus so that I can go to didactics. My intern year program, I really didn't have to drive that much from one facility to another. We just had didactics at the same hospital, and if I was on a rotation that was clinic, just would go there all day, so never really had to worry about it. This is kind of a new experience for me. We'll see if I get sick of it. Right now I kind of like driving in the middle of the day and getting that kind of breather from being in the OR, just get to sit in my car, listen to music. We'll see. Anyway, let's get to didactics.
And get you to a minute ventilation of 15, your CO2's.
All right, I'm done with didactics. Time to go home. Hi guys. Hello. I know ya. All right, guys, so it's about 6:30 in the evening. It's been a pretty good Monday. I got to sleep in a little bit, which was really, really nice. Start off the day with some ortho cases. We did some hip arthroplasties, AKA hip replacements, and that was cool. It was actually my first time doing spinal anesthesia, which was pretty cool because we actually did a skills workshop on Saturday, and one of the pieces of the skills workshop was actually doing spinal. So it was nice to kind of get to apply those skills very soon after doing a workshop for it. And like I told you guys earlier, I went to another campus for didactics, just did a bunch of different lectures on things like managing hypertension, hypotension, hypoxemia. I came home, took a 20-minute nap, made some coffee, and then chart reviewed for tomorrow's cases. In fact, I actually just got off the phone with my attending to discuss the cases and the plans. And that means I am officially done for the day, which is incredible. Honestly, great Monday overall. Can't really complain. Oh, and by the way, I want to thank you guys so much for all the birthday wishes this past weekend. It was honestly overall a really good birthday. If you guys watched last week's vlog, you know that I was working. But my mom, brother, and best friend Bianca came to town, which was really, really awesome. So they were basically at my house when I got home from work on Friday, and I pretty much spent the whole weekend with them. We spent a lot of time at the beach and having fun dinners, such good food. Overall, it was a very, very fun weekend. I'm very grateful that my friends and family came out to visit for it. Here's the rub. Eddie actually went back to Vegas because he has to do a few days of work in person. So he's gone now for just a few days. He's coming back Thursday night. But that means I don't get to come home to his delicious cooking. See, Eddie and I are opposites in the way that I am just really not a fan of cooking. I don't enjoy the grocery shopping, the prep time, the dishes. I really enjoy none of it. and Eddie actually loves it. He finds it therapeutic. If you guys watched last week's vlog, you probably saw that he does a ton of it, and he works from home. So basically every day that I came home last week, he was like cooking something, and we're best friends. So obviously he was, you know, letting me eat some of the food, which was awesome. And now for the next few days, I don't have that, which is pretty cheeks. I was really starting to get used to it. So because I'm too lazy to cook anything and it's Monday and, you know, my birthday was a few days ago, kind of deserve to treat myself a little bit. I think what I'm gonna do is get some Uber Eats. In fact, Uber Eats is actually sponsoring this vlog. Now, I don't know a single resident, attending, or even just college student that hasn't used Uber Eats before. I remember using Uber Eats all the way back in college, and that just increased during medical school, and especially during my intern year when I was on rotations like night float where there's no cafeteria open. We were ordering through Uber Eats all the time, whether it was boba, wings, whatever it was to get us through our shifts. That's just because as a resident, sometimes you kind of just want to take the easier way out. Like you've been working all day, you really don't feel like doing more work when you get home. You just want your food brought to you. That's why me and basically every other resident loves Uber Eats. It's so easy, just a few taps and boom, delicious food is delivered straight to your door or hospital. I literally have them pulled up right here and there's so many options. I can get whatever I'm craving, ramen, sushi, wings, a burger, boba, whatever you're in the mood for, they've got it. And they always have some kind of deal going on, which is dangerously convenient. One of my favorite features is that you can track your order in real time. You don't have to guess when it's gonna arrive. And it's all cashless. You can pay, tip, and get your food without leaving the couch or the call room, which is perfect for residents like me who just want to get home, finish pre-opping, and just lay on the couch. And you don't have to worry about dishes after, which I think that's the part of cooking I hate the most. If you guys have never used Uber Eats before, now's your chance. You can actually get $15 off of your first order of $20 or more using my coupon code Sean15. I'll have the link in the description box below, or you can scan the QR code here on the screen. Again, guys, Uber Eats just really makes it simple. Food when you want it, how you want it. Whether you're a resident like me, a college student, or just someone who wants one less thing to worry about in their day, Uber Eats comes in clutch. Make sure to check them out, and thank you so much to Uber Eats for sponsoring this week's vlog. Woohoo, dinner time. They don't get Uber Eats though. The winning food order was Panda Express, baby. All right, I'm gonna eat. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bunch of sleepy little puppies. Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. Starting off the day with some spine cases, which are always interesting because you basically have to induce the patient, get them off to sleep, get the breathing tube in, and then flip them over onto their stomach. So the setup is a little bit more complicated. Did a couple of these during my one-to-one with my senior, so should be okay. And then after the morning's done, we actually have simulation training today, so hopefully that goes well. Let's have a good day. All right, cases started. My attending told me to go get some breakfast, which you never say no to. All right, we are done for the morning. Time for some simulation, baby. So I'm sitting outside doing some video editing and getting some fresh air while I wait for my simulation time to start. And while I was sitting here, a couple of UCSD medical students actually came by and said hi to me because they recognized me from the vlog. And that was really cool because it kind of reminded me that it's not just folks in Vegas that watch these vlogs, it's actually grown quite a bit. Anyway, if you guys are watching this and that was you, then thank you so much for saying hi, and it was very nice to meet you. All right, guys, I just got done with simulation. Overall, not too bad. I don't know how much I've explained these simulations in my previous vlogs, but we do them every Tuesday this month, and the purpose is to just put us in these scenarios that we hope we don't encounter in real life. If we do, we've at least seen them in the simulated setting. So every single week it's kind of a different thing, a little bit dependent on the lecture that we have prior to the simulation. And the point of the simulation is not to like win or to like save the patient or mannequin, right? The point is just to go down different rabbit holes of thought processes, interventions, and also make justifications for why we're doing what we're doing. A lot of the time you're not getting positive feedback throughout the simulation. In fact, most of the time things are getting worse and worse as you go. And it's not because we're doing a bad job, it's because they want us to keep on thinking and to keep making different differentials and trying new things, so that again, if it happens in real life, we have a broad range of things to consider. So for example, today's simulation was a lot about out of OR intubations and running codes, because as anesthesiology residents at my institution, when we're on call, we're going to be responsible for all the airways at codes, as well as running the code if we are the first people there and another person like ICU or medicine isn't there. So during today's simulation, one of the things I asked for was some of the labs from that morning, and the proctor for the simulation was like, oh, EMR is down. That's like a very unlikely thing to happen in real life, but again, they just wanted to make it harder for us. Or I was actually going to push code dose epinephrine, and as I was going to push it through the IV, the proctor was like, oh, that IV is actually infiltrated, it's blown, you don't have a working IV. So then we drilled an IO into the dummy, right? And that's just because in real life, if I ever try to push meds during a code and see that the IV is blown, I need to be able to think, oh, let's get an IO right now. Whereas there's probably a reality in which the IV in real life was working just fine. It's stuff like that we're doing with these simulations, and I'm glad we do them, because the first time you encounter these problems, you really hope are not with real people. And hopefully these simulations are just more difficult and complex than what we actually have to encounter in real life. Anyway, it's like 4:15. We got our schedules for tomorrow, so I need to run home and pre-op my patients. Catch you guys later. All right, so I'm going for a little run right now. Not gonna lie, it's kind of been hard to keep up with the running routine. I was really good about it the couple weeks before I started my anesthesiology training, and I've just had a hard time keeping up with it the last couple of weeks. I feel like in these vlogs, I look like I'm doing a good job of handling everything, but if I'm being honest, I am quite drained. And at the end of the day, after I'm done pre-opping, it's been really hard to get myself to do more, but I know it'll get better as I get used to this routine and integrate my old routine in as well. In the meantime, all I can do is try my best. Morning guys, happy Wednesday. A couple cases today, no didactics, no sim training. I'll actually be here for the day. Let's get it. All right guys, I'm actually done for the day. Low key, kind of didn't do any vlogging. Just kind of one of those days I just needed to lock into work. You guys didn't really miss anything, just a standard day of cases, actually pretty uncomplicated. My attending let me go like 20 minutes early, which was very, very nice of him. I'm still talking to the social media departments for the School of Medicine and the hospitals, so hopefully the vlogging gets better after I finish communicating with them. Anyway, time to go home. Morning guys, happy Thursday. We got ortho cases today, which should be pretty cool. Not gonna lie, these early mornings do stack up during the week. Like, you just get progressively more and more tired, but that's the life we chose, baby. Let's have a good day. Done with 1 out of 3 cases. Not a bad day so far. All right guys, I am done for the day. Not a bad day. I was in the ortho room, so a lot of bone related cases, some hip arthroplasty, soft tumor removals, that kind of stuff. From the anesthesia side, things were actually pretty smooth today. I feel like I am moving a little bit faster. I feel like it's not taking me as much time to get set up. My flow was overall pretty good. I was actually at the point where like I was waiting for our ORs to be ready, which normally I feel like I almost never have time between cases to really finish setting up. Like I'm just doing stuff the whole time, so it was nice to feel like I was kind of like ahead this time, and I feel like that's just me getting faster. My attending actually challenged me to intubate without a stylet, so typically when you intubate, you have your tube and you have this stylet that goes in the tube, and it just gives the tube some rigidity so it's easier to navigate it down the vocal cords. Well, what you can do is you can just not use that stylet and pass the tube through. It's just a little bit harder because now the tube is less rigid, so it's a little floppier. It's harder to get through the vocal cords. So it's my first time trying it. I've seen attendings do it in the past, and so I tried it, and it took me a little bit longer than if I had used a stylet, but I did manage to get it in, and so that was pretty fun. Anyway, I'm going to head home. Eddie is flying in from Vegas tonight since he's doing kind of like a hybrid with his work over in Vegas. I'm gonna pick him up from the airport around 6:30, which means I have to get home and do all my pre-opping and stuff before then. I'm excited for him to get back. It was a little bit lonely this week, and I really miss his cooking and his company, of course, but his food is so good. I wish you guys could try it. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. We're almost there. Let's go to work. All right, just got the first case started, and now I am taking a little breakfast break. I'm in the vascular room today, which is my first time being in vascular cases. And a lot of the times patients who are getting vascular surgeries are already pretty sick. Like if your diabetes or your peripheral artery disease is at the point where you need vascular intervention, that usually means that the disease is pretty advanced, and you've experienced a lot of complications because of it. So that is kind of what I'm working with today. A little stressful, but great learning opportunities. I'm gonna finish my breakfast and then head back to the OR. This is the anesthesia resident room. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Got some work computers in there, bunch of textbooks over there, water, coffee. Pretty standard workroom. All right, we are done for the week, baby. Let's go. Feels so good to know I don't have to pre-op tonight or check on patient charts tonight or anything. And I got out like 20 minutes early, which was very nice of my attending. All right, guys, like I said, I'm done for the week, and my weekend officially starts right now, which is incredible. I think as the week was going on, I'm sure you guys noticed I was kind of vlogging like less and less, and a lot of that was kind of the tiredness really hitting me. My energy was low, and a lot of my mental capacity is really going towards my day job, which is being an anesthesia resident. And so it was kind of hard this week, I'm not gonna lie. In general, I am getting more tired as the week goes on. It's kind of a mixture of a couple things. One is I am just terrible about going to bed on time. I think something else that is having an impact on my energy is just trying to keep up my old schedule with this new schedule. I don't know how good of a job I've done in explaining my schedule, but let me recap. So basically, every single morning I wake up around 5 a.m., maybe 5:15 a.m., and I get ready. I don't even shower in the morning anymore. I shower at night. I just get ready, get the dog situated, and then I drive to the hospital to try to be in the OR by about 6 a.m. Once I get into the OR, I basically set up my anesthesia station. I check my machine, make sure it's working, make sure that I have oxygen sources, make sure that my monitors are all working and I have all the connectors that I need. I make sure my suction tubing and everything's working. I get all my airway supplies, my ET tubes. I go and set up my IVs, my lines, drips, all that. Get my medications, literally drawing it all into syringes. So that's kind of about 6 a.m. to 6:30, 6:35. And then we have 20 minutes of didactics every single morning. And that goes until about 7. And then I go talk to my patients. And then cases start at 7:20. And basically, I'm in however many cases I have for the day. And right now, as CA1s, they are getting us out at 3 p.m., which is very, very nice of my program. Not every program does that, but they don't want to scare us and burn us out too quickly. So they're setting hard cutoffs for us at 3 p.m., which is very, very nice. So I'm usually walking out the hospital around 3:30 p.m. every day. And around that time, I get my schedule for the next day. So I drive 20 minutes home, kind of lollygag a little bit, maybe film a little TikTok or some vlogging like I'm doing right now. And then I get home, I've got like 20 minutes to kind of just brain rot and just sit there for a sec. And then I pre-op my patients for the next day from about 4:30 to 6 o'clock and call my attending and discuss the patients with him. And that usually takes until about 6:30 or 7 o'clock. So by then I have a few options of how I can spend my day. I can either go and get some exercise, I can do some chores at home, I can work on, social media stuff if I have to do things for sponsors or do some video planning. I can hang out with friends, I can go play video games, whatever it is. But I can't do all of it. Like, there's not enough time to do all of it, because if I'm not truly winding down, and I mean like showered, dressed and everything by like 10 o'clock, like I'm already not getting a lot of sleep. And I'm really not. Like, I usually get into bed around like 10:30, maybe 11, and then I like scroll on my phone and then I fall asleep. And that's kind of what my daily routine looks like right now. And then of course, Mondays we have didactics, Tuesdays we have sim training. I think that's over after next week. And yeah, that's the daily routine. But if you guys remember my vlogs from before I started my anesthesia program, I was doing a lot of other stuff with my day. I was getting a lot more exercise. I was able to really dial it in with the social media stuff. And once Eddie is like settled here, because he's still doing hybrid with his job, I think that'll get better. But while he's been going back and forth, it's just been kind of hard to do all the social media stuff by myself, 2 videos a week. And then I've also been double dipping with TikTok and stuff. And I know this isn't the priority. Like, this right here, you guys aren't the priority over my actual job as a resident. I get that. And that's also for my program, if you guys are watching. Trust me, I know that. But it is something I still prioritize. Like, I still love this. It's a very big outlet for me. You guys are vlog. You guys are the vlog. And I really see this as a video diary for me, where I can really just talk about my thoughts and feelings and experiences, and people who want to listen, you guys get to listen. And there's a lot of value in that. It's very therapeutic for me. It's very relaxing. It gives me this outlet that a lot of residents really don't have and probably need. So I'm very grateful for it, and that's my justification for why I make it such a priority. I really just enjoy this, and I really love what we've done here and what we've grown here. So I still want to fit it in, right? And that's on top of, again, like my physical health and all that other stuff, my social health. So it's tough. It's been tough to work this new schedule in, which has to be the priority, into the life that I'm kind of used to and I'm almost having to dial back on, which isn't a surprise. A lot of people have to do that, especially in medical school and residency. But something that I've always prided myself on with this channel is the fact that I don't let residency totally dictate my life, and I make time for other things, and I want to show you guys that you can. And that's almost like part of my identity, sorta. So it's been kind of hard for me to kind of have a poor balance lately, because I feel like it's kind of infringing on what I believe to be like one of my core identities. And so I feel like it's causing a little bit of a decrease in energy, because I usually get my energy from doing all this other stuff. So I hope that makes sense. That was like really ranty, but that really is like how I'm feeling. Like, I feel like it's not just like, not getting enough sleep. I feel like it's because I'm spending less time doing these other things I really enjoy, it's causing this like decrease in overall energy that I normally have. So I feel like this week and last week I like really felt it, and it can really only get worse, because right now I'm getting out at 3 o'clock. That's not typical. Once we're done with one-to-ones, I'll be responsible for all the cases that are in my OR, even if they go late, unless I get relieved by a CRNA or another anesthesiologist. And I'll even be added to the call schedule, where I might have a 24-hour call, or I might be the late out resident, whatever it is. So it's just going to get worse. It literally can't get better. In fact, I looked at my September schedule. My September schedule is going to suck really bad. It's pretty bad. Like, if I can't handle it right now, I don't know how I'm going to feel. So I'm working on it. And that's going to be a really big priority next week too, is to try to figure out how I can really balance all this stuff, because it is quite difficult. But I don't want to end on a negative note, because overall this was a good week. I actually felt really good in the OR today. I set up all the cases, went through the induction, the maintenance, the emergence. Like, I actually felt very good today. I felt like I was doing stuff. Even my attending on our last case that I set up just now, he just stood back and let me do everything for the induction, which was really awesome and was good for me because I need to be able to do that. So I am noticing improvements in my, not only, physical skills, which anesthesiology is a lot of actual skill set, but also my knowledge as well. Getting more comfortable, and I can see the progress happening. And luckily I still have much more time left for this progress. But yeah, things are getting better clinically. So that's a plus, and that's the positive that I'm going to take away from this week. Anyway, that's enough yapping. I appreciate you guys so much for joining me in another week in residency, and I will see you guys next time.